Okay, now pay attention to me. Before the camera, I stopped what I was doing. I asked you to read paragraph 12 and explain its meaning to your friend. And then your friend would read paragraph 13 and explain meaning to you. Now let's read and check if you got the right meaning. So paragraph 12 argues that children can learn on their own. They can read on their own without Divakar sir's help. So let them read. Learn from each other and each other's mistakes. Now listen to me. We can learn from our mistakes. So teachers should allow children to make mistakes. If you are not making any mistake, you are not learning. If you have made no mistakes in life, you haven't learned important things in life. Repeating errors is foolishness. But making mistakes is not foolishness. It's natural. We all learn by trial and error. We know now from the experience of many schools, both rich, suburban and poor city, the children are often the best teachers of other children. Look. Why? Because when your friend is teaching you, you have no fear. You don't have to show respect to your friend, honor. You can be informal. Your friend can be your best teacher. And have you heard? All the bad things in our life are taught to us by our friends. I'm sorry to say that. Good things also. But have you seen? It is the closest friend who teaches us the worst habits. That's why it is said, choose a friend wisely. Choose a friend wisely. What is more important? We know that when a 5th or 6th grader who has been having trouble with reading, suppose somebody doesn't know how to read, starts helping a 1st grader. Look, I was poor in English in grade 11. What I did, you know? I called the son of the milkman at my home in India. His son was in grade 9 when I was in grade 11. And I had the book Creative Delights grammar book. What I did, I would call that class 9 child my milkman's son, and I started teaching him grammar and translation free of cost. I taught him for 1 year. He learned grammar. I learned grammar even better. And I moved on to becoming an English teacher. So if you want to read, teach somebody how to read. When I explain like this, I learn more than you. What you can learn from this? At home, if you have laptop, open the soft copy in the laptop, use Zoom, open the file in Zoom, and on the camera, you can use avatar. If you don't like to be displayed, use avatar, change your name, and teach the lesson as I'm teaching. Open a YouTube channel and upload. Let the people see. You will learn better. You are poor in mathematics? No problem. Buy one whiteboard. Ask your parent. I have one at my home. It took me 12,000 rupees to make it. Make one whiteboard at home, a study room. If you don't know any problem, turn on the camera. Imagine the camera is a student. And start teaching that math solution on the whiteboard. Record it. Upload it. People will appreciate and they will learn. The best way of learning anything is trying to teach it to somebody. Still I was wondering, how come that too, sir? The best way to learn anything is teach it to somebody. You don't know bicycle riding? Teach someone how to ride. You too will learn. You will learn faster. Right? That's why teachers know more than you, because teachers do a conspiracy. They don't let you learn. They teach you. Look, Divakar is doing a bad thing. When Divakar sir explains everything to you, actually sir is learning, you're not learning. So what you should do? Tell me, Divakar sir, don't teach us. We'll learn on our own. That day will be the independent day. Be independent learner. You don't need a teacher. Okay. A number of schools are beginning to use what some call paired learning. Right? As I made you in a pair and said, read it. This, raise your hand if in your past school life you had paired learning in classrooms. Raise your hand if your teachers made you work in pair. Okay, 2 people, 4 people, 5 people, 6 people. Okay, 6 people. This means that you let children form partnership with another child. Earlier, when I asked him to join her, he said, I'll be with him. Fine, no problem. You should be with somebody you feel comfortable to work together, right? With other children, do their work, even including their test together, and share whatever marks or results that this work gets. Just like grown-ups in the real world, it seems to work. Teamwork, collaboration. We should teach children to collaborate with another student in the classroom. Okay, let's move on and read 13. We have 15 paragraphs in this essay, I guess. Let the children learn to judge their own work. Yes, I tried this. You know what happened once here at LSCM long ago? It was a batch of, I forgot the Pradhananga batch in BBIS. What I did, they took midterm exam and I said, take picture of your copy, answer copy, in the exam hall. I took the copies home, they took the photos home. And I said, print them. They printed. Then I said, now you are the examiner and check your copy. Look for spelling error, punctuation, grammar, and with green ink, award marks. And I said, below, give a reason why you are awarding that mark. And I found that, to my surprise, I found that students evaluated themselves more negatively than teachers. To an answer, I had given 3.5, the student gave only 2. And I interviewed, why? He said, I don't think it's a good answer. So I found that students have a negative perception about their own capacities. And you know what happened to my surprise? The news is spread to the administration. And the principal came to know that Divakar sir told students to check their copies. Next year, in the meeting in the beginning semester, the first thing the principal said, हामीले सुनेका छौं केही सरहरूले बच्चाहरूलाई कपी चेक गर्न लाउनुहुन्छ यस्तो नगर्नु होला. I was disappointed because he didn't understand the spirit of what I was doing. I was doing that, reading this line. I was following it. Maybe he hadn't read this essay, so he didn't understand the logic. See, the best way of learning is reflection. When you check your own copy, you start reflecting. Rather than me, if I find your error, you might be embarrassed. But if you find your error, you won't have to be embarrassed. You're at your home, study room, reading your copy, checking your copy, you find a spelling error, nobody's watching you. Fine, you learn. But if I find spelling error, and if I have to say, hey, this error, you might feel ashamed. It's always good to allow students to judge themselves. See, rather than a teacher judging a child, if his friend judges, it's more comfortable. Because when your friend judges you, you don't mind it. Right? Please, see how good. A child learning to talk does not learn by being corrected all the time. Look, I learned Nepali language. I never remember a single time when my parents corrected my error in Nepali language. But I know fantastic Nepali. Ramra Nepali आउँछ त मजाले बोल्छु त यो पनि आउँछ त्यो पनि आउँछ कहिले कसैले सच्याएन करेक्सन गरेन अंग्रेजीमा जहिले करेक्सन गर्ने त्यही भएर अंग्रेजी आउँदैन. The more you correct a child, the more he is discouraged to learn. Let me share one incident, emotional incident. Long ago, I was in a college +2. I still remember, I forgot her first name, Miss Bhandari. Grade 11 exams took place. I took the copies home, and there was a student who spelled 99% words wrongly. Not a single word correctly spelling. And my habit was, the college would give me a red ink pen, and as I checked the copy, what I would do, I would circle every error. I would circle every error. And you know, now I realize how bad I was doing, how wrong I was doing. And when I brought the copies for on result distribution day, I gave the copy to her. She opened, and the whole copy was painted in red. The next day, in the class, she was crying. And she said in Nepali, with angry expression, "Sir, मेरै मात्रै गल्ती देख्नुभयो तपाईले संसारमा, पुरै कपी त रातै बनाउनु भएको छ, अरूको मेकी गल्ती भएको छैन." I began to realize I did a wrong thing by pointing all the errors, because that was discouraging her to write further. She began to feel, I can't write. Second example, I was at TU, MA class. Miss Paudel from Ilam, I won't tell her first name. She had written one assignment. What I did, a foolish thing, I took the photo of assignment, used it on my laptop, and displayed the text on the screen without her name. And what I was doing, I was showing errors in the writing. She was down there. After about 25 minutes, she began to sob. Then she began to cry. Then I realized, oh, by exposing her writing to class without her consent, I did a mistake. I learned that I should never expose students' personal writing in public without their consent, because it hurt her self-image. It hurt her self-image. With these examples, I want to understand you that it's always good to allow the student to read his own writing, judge his own writing, evaluate their own writing. A student is the best judge of his own writing. First you judge, then you ask me, Divakar sir, I've gone through it, I've revised, could you please see it? Then I'll see it. Right? Look how nice things he's saying about teaching. Okay. He compares 1,000 times a day the differences between language as he uses it and as those around him. How do we learn language? First language. If we make a mistake in Nepali, nobody is correcting us. We hear the correct version all the time, and we automatically, our mind starts correcting. In English, teachers correct us. Every time they correct, they sneer, they pucker their face. Puckering your face. This is how you pucker. This is puckering. And every time he puckers, you are discouraged. Right? A teacher should not pucker their face and insult you, simply because you make errors. Right? It's very natural. So how does the child learn? Comparing his version with elder's version. 1,000 times a day, the difference between language as he uses it and those around him use it. Bit by bit, he makes the necessary changes. Look, in paragraph 2 he said, a child learns by trying out, making changes, to make his language like other people's. I used to improve my pronunciation. For example, I used to say pronunciation. Pronunciation. We never say pronunciation. We say pronunciation. What I would do, I would sit before a mirror. At my home, I had a full-length mirror. I would sit before a mirror. I had a radio. I'll use headphone. And I will tune into BBC. And when the news anchor on BBC radio read the news, I would read the same news along with him on the screen. And I would try to catch him. Sometimes I could. What I'm teaching you, we can learn if we consciously want to learn something. Right? Bit by bit, he makes the necessary changes to make his language like other people's. In the same way, kids learning to do all the other things they can learn without adult teachers. Look, kids can learn without adult teachers. To walk, they can learn to walk. Did someone take you to school to train you how to walk? No. These days, I went to a clinic, hearing clinic, and I found that in my 4 hours wait, I saw 30 children brought by parents for speech therapy. And I talked to these parents, I said, what's the problem? They said, "Bacha boldaina." I wonder, oh God, bacha boldaina, 5 वर्ष भयो boldaina, 4 वर्ष boldaina. And I asked, के भर्न बोल्या होला? And I found that all these children were given mobile phones by their parents as toddlers. As a result, while living with a mobile phone, growing with a mobile phone, these children didn't have to interact. Because when you watch mobile phone, you watch videos, you are not talking. But when you talk to a real friend, you fall down, he pushes you, he pulls you, you talk, you shout, then you learn language. So today, children who are growing with mobile phones in families, they are not learning how to speak. And parents are taking them for speech therapy. Because in my time, I grew up with 20 kids around. I would fight, I would play, I would run. I was always surrounded by 4 or 5 kids around me. That's not the case today. Babu, baire najau, gaadile haन्छ. Babu, त्यहाँ नजाऊ, चोरले लान्छ. के गर? Mobile हेर, mobile हेर, mobile हेर. And you come to BBA, you also mobile हेर. You also mobile हेर, right? This is a mobile generation. So, you learn naturally to walk, to run, to climb, to whistle, to ride a bike, to skate, to play, to jump. Compare their own performance with what more skilled people do and slowly make the needed changes. Look, this is called self-paced learning. This is called independent learning. This is called natural learning. If we can learn these things without a teacher, we can learn anything without a teacher. I bet. I am quite confident that we can venture on learning any subject under the sun without going to a school and without having a teacher. I agree, sometimes we may not understand certain points. At that point, we might need someone's guidance. But what I feel is that we do not have to depend fully on someone to make us understand. I want you to have this confidence. Please, I repeat, have this confidence. You can learn anything, any subject, without going to a school, college, without being in class, without a teacher. Over a long time, our education has wrongly given us this wrong feeling. We can't learn without sir. No, who is this guy? Who am I? You can do this whole course without Divakar sir. The day you say, yes, Divakar sir, don't teach me these essays, I will study, you are successful. You get my point? If you say, Divakar sir, I can take exam without you teaching the essays, you are successful. But we have made you fear, oh God, that's the wrong thing. Right? Okay, in coming 1 week, come to me and say, Divakar sir, हजुरले भने inspire भयो र यो हप्ता मैले चाहिँ यो कुरा सिकेँ without a teacher. I'll be happy. In 7 days, come and meet me and tell me, Divakar sir, this week I learned this skill. I read this book without a teacher, and I know. I have seen students here in the classroom. They read thick novels. I'm sometimes surprised. You पढ्छौ? पढ्न मन लाग्छ? कति पढिसकेँ मैले? They have this culture of reading at home. They read books without anybody telling them. Okay? But in school, we never give a child a chance to detect his mistakes. What is the point? Allow children to find their own mistakes. Let children learn from their own mistakes. I still remember how I learned bicycling. I was maybe 7, 8 years old, and in my college, where my father was a principal, college principal, teachers will come. And they will park their bicycles in the parking area. And I will sneak out, and I will see which bicycle is not locked. Because I was principal's son, nobody will scold me. And I will secretly take one bicycle without telling the teacher. And I will take the bicycle in the street, crowded street. And what I will do, Kaichi, I was so small, I could not sit on the seat. So I would get my legs inside the triangular frame. And I would hold the handle and I would fall. I would get my knees bruised many times. I would get my elbows bruised many times. But I learned. The same way I learned riding a motorcycle. I haven't yet learned driving a car. Right? I once went to a car center, took a class for 15 days, but I couldn't get the license. My point is, learn from the mistakes. Learn by falling. Let alone correct them. Do not, hello teachers, don't correct students. Like me, don't use reading. I remember that Miss Bandari, forgot her first name, how she cried. Miss Powder, how she cried. We do it all for him. We act as if we thought he would never notice a mistake. See, children themselves find their mistakes. Teachers do not have to point. Unless it was pointed out to him, or correct it unless he was made to. Soon he becomes dependent on the expert. See, the biggest curse of modern education today is our education makes us dependent on the teacher. The problem with education is our education makes us dependent on the teacher. Whereas real education should make you independent learner. By now you have taken 12 years of schooling, right? 12 years. By now you should say, now I don't need to join any college. I'll take a private exam. I can study. But you can't do that. You have this feeling. We gave you that feeling. We gave you the wrong feeling. Oh, I can't do mathematics without that teacher. Oh, I can't study English without Divakar sir. That's the wrong thing. You can do. Believe me, you can do. We should let him do it himself. Let the student now, the next 4-5 essays, I'm not going to teach you. I'll follow this thing. You will read, come and present. Read, come and present. That's a big challenge. Let him figure it out. Let the student figure out by himself with the help of other students. If he wants it, what this word says. If you don't know the meaning, why call Divakar sir? Sorry, why not read the whole sentence 2 times and guess the meaning? If not possible, why not call her, the friend next to you, and ask her, why not call her? Why call the teacher? First, try to solve on your own. If not, call a friend. If nobody can help, then call the teacher. Teacher should be the last resort. Okay. A long paragraph. Let him figure it out with the help of other children if he wants it. What this word says, what is the answer to that problem? Whether this is a good way of saying or doing this or that. If right answers are involved, as in some math or science, give him the answer book. Let him correct his own papers. This was the line which I followed here 5 years before. And the college administration didn't understand my spirit. And in the meeting they said, they didn't name me, I was there, I remember still. They said, कोही सरहरूले एक्जामको कपी आफूले चेक नगर्ने बच्चालाई चेक गर्न भन्नुभएको छ यसरी त कहाँ हुन्छ हामी तलब खुवाके गर्न हो, he said. Then I realized, I wished he had read this essay. I have tried this at TU. What I do, I take exam, I check copies, give them marks, and I say, okay, you got 30 out of 50, you rewrite the answer at home, using copy, using books, free. You can use internet. Improve the answer, I'll give you more marks. And students take the copies home, they rewrite again the same answer, looking the copies and books, internet. And they bring me, Divakar sir, earlier this was my poor answer, it is better. And I tell them, okay, tell me why the previous answer was poor. and why the second is better. And they explain. And when they explain me why answer is bad and why answer B is good, they understand what makes a good answer. And I award them better marks. What's wrong? One day, my head said, दिवाकर सर एकचोटि जाँच लिएर एक फेरि नम्बर दिएको कपीमा फेरि उनीहरूलाई लेख्न दिएर तपाईले नम्बर थप्नुभयो भने तपाईलाई अख्तियार लाग्छ, जेल जानुहुन्छ. I said, किन? Then my head said, नेपाल कानुन अनुसार एक फेरि जाँच लिएर कपी चेक गरेर हालेको नम्बरलाई चेन्ज गर्न पाइँदैन. तपाईले चेन्ज गर्नुभयो भने घुसखार गरेको ठहरिन्छ. तपाईले I was shocked. I was shocked. Why? Because people do not understand the spirit of independent learning. She writes an answer. I give marks. Then I say, okay, rewrite the answer. Use Google, use ChatGPT, Gemini, anything. Then come back to me with the two answers. Now you explain me why the first answer is not good and why the second answer is better. She will learn what makes a better answer. Right? Okay. Why should we teachers waste time on such donkey work? He says, oh, I like this line. He says, examining student copies is donkey work. Let them examine. Our job should be to help the kid when he tells us. Help children only when they call for help. Did I tell you that, that cocoon story in this class last time? Did I tell you about the story of biology student? Last time I told you a story about a biology student and teacher? No? I didn't tell. Okay. That can't find a way to get the right answer. Let's get rid of all this nonsense. What nonsense? Checking students' copies and correcting and showing all the red lines. Of grades. Look, he says, throw away grades. Don't grade a child. It's so demeaning. Exam. Marks. Oh God, this is unacceptable. Will you agree if LS says, no exams, no grade, no certificate, the student go home? Will you agree? No, because we have to get a job tomorrow, right? So some of his advice are not practical. We don't know now and we never will know how to measure what another person knows. So look what it says. You can never judge what another person knows or does not know. You can never judge knowledge. You can never judge any person's knowledge or understands. We certainly can't find out by asking him questions. All we find out is what he does not know, which is what most tests are for. Look, our examinations do not test what we know. They test what we do not know. When you get 40 out of 60, out of 100, they are saying you don't know the 60. So our exams judge what we don't know. They never judge what we know. Look how strong criticism he makes, which is what most exams tests are for. Anyway, throw it all out, exam, grade, marks. Let the child learn what every educated person must someday learn. What? See, what is the ultimate learning? What every child should learn? Every child should learn to measure his own understanding. How to know what he knows or does not know. Mark this line, very powerful line. Teach children, learn how to learn. Learn how to learn. This is independent learning. The most powerful line. What should education teach? Make a child learn how to measure his own understanding. If this girl can himself measure whether she understands something or not, she will be independent learner, right? Okay, we stop here for today. We'll continue in tomorrow's class and finish the essay. Thank you.